Welcome to another episode of Purchase to Profits. I'm Seth Ferguson. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss our daily interviews with successful real estate investors. Also, I've put together the top 7 key market drivers I look at when analyzing a real estate property. Go to sethferguson.org to download your free copy. Our guest today started investing in real estate 3 years ago, wholesaling single-family homes. Now his main focus is to expand into multifamily properties and become one of the youngest syndicators in the marketplace. Dakarai Towns is the president of D Homes Real Estate. Dakarai, welcome to Purchase to Profits. It's great to have you on the show.
Thank you, Seth.
Yeah, no, we're really
Appreciate
looking
it,
forward.
and thank you for the invite.
No, you're very welcome. Pleasure is mine. So to kick things off, let's talk about your real estate goals right now.
Okay. So right now, my real estate goals is to really solidify my team as a syndication team. And I actually contacted a broker not too long ago. I will be moving out to Dallas, Texas, to do some work up there. And he told me to let him know the first week I get there, and then we're actually going to go on some drives. My goal is to have a 15 unit by the end of the year.
That's a great goal. That's awesome. and you're actually moving to Dallas. So are you moving to Dallas just for real estate?
Yes. I have family down there too, but I definitely wanted to pursue my real estate goals. And it was a very strong passion of mine while I was in school. And I had actually made this decision in December. So wanted to go up there and do some real estate. And from now, we're here now, and things kind of just dwindled the way they are now.
Yeah, that's great. I had a guest on, probably 4 or 5 months ago, where he and his wife sold everything and moved across the country just for real estate.
Yeah.
But you almost have to cut the cord, right? You commit 100% and you do what you have to do to get started. So
right.
That's great.
Right. Yeah. I don't have anything to lose. It's not a lot. I just graduated from University of South Carolina, and it's, been surreal, a great experience for me, but I know that, my experiences can definitely be developed, and I can grow a lot more, somewhere that I think, especially in Dallas, Texas, that'll be, just an abundance of different opportunities for me.
Yeah. And so you're a young guy, and most young guys have things other than real estate on their mind at your age. So what was it about real estate that really attracted you?
I guess it was, I don't know. I think I got dedicated, especially when it came to wholesaling. I just got dedicated to the process and learning different things. And I started to see that I liked, and enjoyed that, that kind of that grind feeling. Right. So while doing that, I've always looked out from different entrepreneurs and studied different entrepreneurs. Even some of my local friends that I have that are maybe running different businesses that's not even in real estate. But I think it was just with real estate, that was my first ever venture, and just okay, I'm going to do something outside of my means, and literally created something out of nothing. So, started with $0, literally, and, end up wholesaling and made, maybe 1,200 here or 7,200 here, something like that. So from there, it started to expand. My network started to expand. I started to learn a lot more, and it just kept driving me to want to do more and, really figure something out for me and my family.
Yeah. And at what point, because you started off wholesaling, at what point did you say, hey, listen, now I want to focus on multifamily?
Funny enough, after my second deal.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. After my second wholesale deal, I just didn't see the timing being used in the most valuable way. It was great, while doing it, but be mindful at this time too, I was also in school. So I was trying to not stretch myself out too thin, trying to go to the home and, talk to the clients and things like that. And then talk to my investors and then kind of do that whole back and forth thing. It's a, good, it's a good working process. So, and of course it takes a lot of time. So within that, I saw that my deals were taking probably at least maybe 2 months for them to close. And around that time, that's about almost halfway through the semester. And then at that point, the third month, of the semester is finals and everything. So I don't have time to go and run out to a property and go see a, homeowner and things like that. So I started to just think about more things online, and I saw that, multifamily was more profitable. So I think that would be something that I would entertain more, and I can possibly do one deal out the year or one deal every 6 months or something like that. Really, just putting, the metal to the pedal. Like, I just went ahead and started to go after bigger and better deals. And they all were multifamily. I started maybe with 15 to 20 units, started analyzing. Now, I didn't close any at this point, but I was always learning from, and scaling up. So even with single family homes, as I was wholesaling, before those two deals, I had to been probably analyzing at least 15 to 30 homes a week. Yeah. Just because it was just that, that constant grind. You're always going to be looking for homes if you're trying to wholesale, and they're not all always going to fall through. So you're going to have to, kind of, suck that up and then really, put the pedal to the metal and just, grind those gears, because other than that, you're not going to close anything if you're not persistent and trying to just keep pushing. So I think that was the biggest shift for me after the second deal. And I just, started to see like, okay, wow, I can actually probably put my time to something that's more profitable.
Yeah. And what skills do you think that you've learned doing the wholesaling? What skills will kind of help you out on the multifamily side?
I think one was definitely the communication with the investors, because, man, it was it was so bad starting off. I didn't know what to say, or I didn't know certain things that certain terminologies. So when I started to take on wholesaling and then kind of try to transfer it to apartments, I started to learn more of the lingo about apartments. I started to learn about T12s, rent rolls, a stable property, underperforming property, and how the NOI is affected by certain factors. So a lot of these things weren't technical. Like I also learned, a little bit of underwriting, but I'm not a pro at it yet. They're definitely still practicing, but I started to learn these different terminologies. And once I started to talk those terminologies, bigger guys were taking me more serious. It wasn't the fact of, oh, you haven't had a deal before and things like that. It was more so, okay, are you even speaking correctly? I mean, if you try to come in and wholesale an apartment deal for 5 or 6% acquisition fee, no one's going to take you serious. Like that's just not going to happen. And so understanding the world and the community around multifamily investing and also even single family home investing, it's just you have to understand that world. And once you understand that world, you can start to travel, amongst your network, start to travel amongst different vocabulary, and start to travel amongst different skill sets that you may think that you don't have, but you actually do. You just have to figure out how to utilize it. So I'm really big in communicating. I'm really big in trying to make things very, very simple for people. And when it comes to presenting deals, I think that's what was one of the biggest skills I was able to. Like, my presentation was decent, I would say. I'm definitely not trying to toot my horn here, but that's the kind of thing you have to bring to the table in order for someone to understand, okay, this is a serious person. He's dealing with serious deals and he wants to get something done.
Yeah. And I found it for myself because I started in real estate when I was quite young too. You almost have to be better than everybody else in your presentation to be taken seriously, because they don't see any gray hair.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And ironically enough, I have like 5 gray hairs.
5, yeah. Yeah. Oh, don't worry. We can't see them on the camera. You're good.
Great. That's good. But yeah, definitely. You got to make sure that you stay competitive and on your game. Because if you're not, I mean, it's a totally different beast going from single family homes to multifamily. And I had to learn that, thankfully, not the hard way. I mean, maybe I lost a few connections here and there because I've probably raised a fee too high, or I didn't know if the property was a certain cap or something like that. So it's very analytical. And so I started to tinker with, okay, what am I doing wrong? What kind of factors in myself do I have to look for and mess with and optimize? A lot of times you don't realize it until someone maybe even comes and tells you, or, you know, they just sit you down and say, hey, look, you're doing this all the wrong way. You're thinking about it all the wrong way. So definitely, even when I started to express my interest more into multifamily, probably I want to say 5 to 6 months, I started to network with other syndicators in my local area, started to network with other syndicators online, and the ones that are actually doing serious deals. That's actually how I met Joe. I actually, you know, just contacted him. I just wanted to talk, and I just wanted to see, you know, how could I learn more from him and things like that.
Yeah, and you mean Joe Fairless, who was a past guest on the show? Just
correct.
So no,
yeah, correct. Yes, Joe Fairless, and that's how I met him. But it was because you have to reach out to the network that you know is that brings value already to the community. Just as you, Seth, you know, and like I said, I thank you again for bringing me on. I would have eventually reached out to you because I know that you're bringing value to the community and I can learn from you, right? And so that's what kind of things helped me when it comes from wholesaling, because I didn't have an expanded network as much as I did. Maybe, you know, probably 4 or 5 people, but, you know, something in multifamily, it's more relationship based. It's not always about the deal and the numbers and things like that. It's really about who can I trust and who can I really play with.
Yeah. And I would say in multifamily, it's 100% your network.
Right.
Like your network is your success.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
So what would you say? Because I get lots of people who contact me and say, hey, Seth, I want to get into real estate. But then a year, 2, 3 years goes by and they still haven't done anything. What made you take action at such a young age when so many other people are just sitting on the sidelines, not doing anything?
I want to say my mindset, it ended up breaking the consumer mindset at pretty early stages, especially when I was doing wholesaling. I started doing wholesaling when I was 22. I'm 25 now. So when I first went to that first seminar, right, people always say, like, I'm a believer in really gaining value, even through courses, if I have to pay for it. So funny enough is I went to a Damon John event, and it was just, you know, one of those free events for 3 days. And I actually went just to learn about stuff and see what, you know, was offered. It had nothing to do with real estate at the time. And then literally I found out that he had a real estate segment. So I actually networked with somebody who bought his real estate course, and they said that you could bring someone on for free. You know, we were just networking and things like that. And so end up finding out that he bought the course and he brought me on. And as he brought me on, I started to understand throughout those courses, like, okay, this is the mindset you have to have. You have to be risky. You have to, you know, have to take that leap of faith. And so the leap of faith with me was not financial. It was just mentally. It was, okay, can I do this even while I'm in school? And I've always had people tell me, you know, yeah, you can't do that, or it might be too much. You don't stretch yourself thin, yada, 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 you know. And I understand that. But at the time, I really, really had a huge passion to learn it and, you know, really, you know, get things all in front of me to really look at it and see and analyze and see if I could actually do it. So from there, I think it was just understanding the business model, understanding the people that was in the network, also understanding, you know, that this is doable. This is something that it you know, is not made up. People aren't making these type of things up, especially about wholesaling. A lot of people have this weird, you know, negative connotation with wholesaling, especially. So I always highlight that just because that's how I started, and that's what kind of bloomed me out. Right. That was my my pivot point. So what definitely got me started, especially in multifamily, like I said, was when I was after that second deal, I started to learn a lot more. And then I started to understand a lot faster about, you know, how multifamily works. So from there, I was like, oh man, this makes perfect sense. So I think people really struggle with the fact that they don't believe in themselves and they don't believe in their potential. A lot of times you find that, you know, people a lot older than me as well, they just haven't seen that world before. They haven't been exposed to that. I attest to my parents all the time because they, you know, they were worried for me, right? They didn't want me to do anything outside of school, like real estate investing, things like that. And I will admit, oh my God, forgive me, Mom, for saying this. But anyway, but she was not fond of me getting into real estate. She was not fond of me going this route because she didn't understand it. And it took her around 4 years to really say, oh, wow, okay, now I get it. I understand, So for someone and for someone of that, time lift to really figure it out and say, okay, I get it now. I understand that whoever is, just a common day 9-to-5 goer, and they don't have anyone in their ear saying, hey, you can do this. You can definitely do this. You put your mind to it and just lay it all out. And it's simple. Then they're never going to discover this new world of abundance, right? It's definitely has blessed me with a huge network. So it's not even, like I said, it's not even monetary at this point right now. It's really literally my network. And I just get amazed at how far I've come because so many, like you said, even on your podcast, you have these guys controlled maybe 15 to 20 million in assets or 400 plus in assets, right?
Or
I don't have
billion.
Anything, right? Right, or 1 billion.
Yeah.
Like, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, so even to be a part of this lineup is really a humble blessing again. And like I said, like me right now, I don't have assets under control. I'm not managing any at this point, but I am learning so much to the point where once I move to Texas and things like that, give me about, I would even say at the end of the year to really elevate because this whole time I've been in school. And so even then I felt like, okay, if I can do this while I'm in school, man, I can't wait till I get out. And now I have a full, line of time in front of me, a full, whole nother network that I can meet now. So it's, like I said, I think it just all comes back to understanding and believing in yourself. And if you don't do that, you're not going to put your first foot forward.
No, 100%. Like the thing I found is that the investors performing at the high level, they're not smarter than you or I. We all have relatively the same IQ. It's just they think differently. That's right. The secret sauce. Right. And that's the difference between someone doing 20 million to 500 million and from 500 million to $1 billion. It's just how they see the asset and think about it. That's it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And exactly. You literally took the words out of my mouth because when I start to study and see, like I said, like even the higher performers, they do that. They literally are just thinking on a different frequency. Now, it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't mean that they're more intelligent than you. They just understand the strategies and even have people that are helping them along the way because they are actually putting in the work. And I think that's another thing that the multifamily space has blessed me with is, different people of, different controlling assets, have even helped me and put me on smaller jobs, just to get inside of that industry because they know that my work ethic is there. They know I want to learn it. So I'm fine with doing whatever. And, just to kind of get my head inside the door and say, okay, that's how you do that. And now I understand it a lot more. And so it's just been a huge upcoming for me. And even now, I haven't been able to go to like some of the meetups or, some of the crazy, big, huge multifamily meetups yet. But once I do, I think I'll at least know about 5 or 6 people there. And that's truly amazing.
Yeah. So let's talk about a keystone deal. So a deal that made a big impact on you. Is there one that comes to mind?
Yes. My first deal, like I said, this also goes back to mentality and also just the believing in yourself. So my first deal, we contracted, and when I say we, I mean me, and I had a financial broker on my side and also an agent at the time. And we were all working together to try to bring in multiple deals at a time and, kind of doing that thing with single family home. Again, I was also in school. I would get out of class. I would literally go out of class and I would go driving for dollars. And it was the craziest thing. And then afterwards I would go home and do homework. So I actually came up on a deal online via Craigslist. And it was actually here in Columbia, South Carolina in the greater Rosewood area. So I kind of looked out on that. It was a pretty good area to get in as a first timer, I would say. So got in there, found the property, and they wanted 55,000 for it. So we contracted it at 55,000. The comp said that the ARV was around 90. It was around 85 to 90K after repairs and et cetera. So I was like, okay, great. This is a good deal, right? And be mindful, like I said before this, it was about 15 to 30 houses that I've already looked at, talked to the owners, did the whole 9 yards with the owners, got contract signed, everything, just didn't pull through. So this is my actual first deal that I actually closed. And what happened was we ended up getting it inspected. And then after we got it inspected by the contractor and the GC came out, home inspector came out, we saw that they had some termite issues. So they had unactive termites. So there weren't any active termites, thankfully, but still the whole entire side of the wall had to be removed, right? So that was a huge chunk of change from my investor. And also from there, we found it was another gash wall on the other side, so we had to take care of that one. So then we said, okay, we need to renegotiate. We renegotiated down to 48,000. So contracted back to 48,000. Had another general contractor come out, and he said that the foundation was bad. So we had some foundation issues, right? So all in all, we came back, renegotiated. I was on the phone with people probably from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night, and just doing the whole entire process, going back and forth between my seller and my investor. And so ended up bringing down the seller to 23,000. So it was a huge discounted property. But by the sheer luck of it having so much damages and spitting out the facts, all in all, he went ahead and contracted it for 22,000 and added on a 1,250 assignment fee for me. And so my assignment fee at first was 5,000, but like I said, it was my first deal, and I was fine with taking whatever as long as I finished it. And I think the first deal for me, like I said, was more so, can I close this? Can I actually go and do what I was taught from learning it and spending maybe, I would say, 4 or 5 months doing this before a first deal? Can I actually do this? And I already told myself in the head, like, yes, you will close this deal. So I had to do whatever it takes. And that even means losing out on a higher fee. That's fine with me. Okay. It's okay. If as long as it works out for my investor, we're good to go. So after that, we got it for, like I said, 22,000, added in the $1,250 for the assignment fee. And we closed. The homeowner was happy. I was happy. My seller was happy, or my investor was happy. And so then about, I want to say 5 months afterwards, or maybe four months afterwards, after everything was done, general contractor fixed everything up. Everything looks really, really nice. And they ended up selling it for 93,000. Nice. So I was excited. That was my first deal. And I was excited that my first investor, who literally came to me, actually just got off the phone with him literally probably like an hour ago. But he was the first person there to even be on my buyer's list. So he was my first buyer on my buyer's list. And he was so excited for me that I even started this venture and things like that. So he bought the deal from me and told me that he sold it for 93,000. And man, I was just in awe. Like, I was excited for him. So they actually came down from Israel and they had dinner with me, took me out, and we all just chatted about future business and things we can do in the future, man. So that deal specifically was a very humbling deal because I had to step back and say, okay, I'm not taking what I wanted to get out of this deal, but I am also gaining a relationship factor in there. I've satisfied a seller and I've satisfied my buyer as well. And I'm satisfied just because of the fact that they even came down, paid for dinner, talked to me about what they want to do, and how can I be included inside of their business long term. So that was the ultimate goal for me. And it all worked out for everybody. It was a win-win situation. Yeah. And so, like I said, that deal specifically, would be one that I always remember just because it was a switch that clicked. Right after we was at the closing, signed everything, money was transferred, keys were sent, everything just kind of clicked. And I was like, wow, like I can really do this. Like I can really actually make money by just, getting a good home and a good deal and making sure everything is right and doing the whole nine. And I can just keep doing it, Granted, like I said, if I wasn't in school, maybe I would do more deals. Maybe I would have done 15 deals by the end of that year or something like, I don't know. As much as I was driving, I would probably say I probably could do at least 10 that year. But from there, like I said, it was a very humbling experience for me. And that was probably the most impactful in my life.
Yeah. And, your first deal is always the hardest one. It's like when you're running hills, right? You're running up, it's so hard, your legs are burning, but once you get to the top, it's all downhill from there.
Yeah.
And all the successful investors say the same thing. Your first deal is the hardest. Once you get 3, that's when things start becoming easy because it's all in your head. You've proven to yourself that you can do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was one of the things that I really was trying to struggle with was trying to get over was the proof of concept. I wanted a proof of concept to see, okay, can I actually do this? And when it happened, I stared at the HUD sheet just blankly. Like I couldn't believe what was happening. I was like, that's my company's name on the HUD sheet. I'm like, are you really about to sign that? Like, it's kind of crazy feeling, but yeah, it's definitely an adrenaline rush. And actually it's funny too. I actually brought on one of my friends from school who started wholesaling, actually got her to do some roads. I actually helped her close her first deal probably 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So, and funny thing is, my investor actually bought it. The same guy who bought my first deal bought her first deal. She made $2,000 on it. I told her, don't worry about the money. Just, $500 is fine. That's cool. And I just wanted her to get that clicking because she was always struggling with, oh, can I do this? Can I do this? And I'm like, you can. You have this. You have this in the bag. You have the presentation. You have the email list. You have the people and the connections beside you. Just utilize us. So she calls me up and and she tells me the deal and the details, and we're on it for about a week. And then she calls me back that weekend and says, hey, we're almost done with the deal, but I need to see if this, can happen, this price at this price. And I said, okay, get me on the phone with the owner. Got me on the phone with the owner, talked to him for about a good probably 10 or 15 minutes. We had a little heart to heart. And then after that, he dropped his price and we closed. And it was a great moment. I called her back and say, hey, the deal's good now. We're good to go. I'll see you at the closing table. Boom. It was done. So I felt good to actually help someone out and bring them inside their world because it was just a click. It was just a click for them after that.
Yeah.
It was like, man, I'm ready to get more deals. So.
Oh, that's great. I'll have to have you back on the show in a year and you can tell us all about your multifamily deals.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely. And I would love to give you an update.
So Dakarai, if somebody's looking to get in touch with you, learn more about what you're doing, where can they find you?
Sure. So you can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm also on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook and LinkedIn at Dakarai Towns. And you can find me, you can hit my Gmail at dhomesrealestate@gmail.com. And yeah, for right now, I think that's the only channels that I'm on, and I'll probably be expanding once I actually start a podcast. I will be starting a podcast, targeting, like I said, people in that mindset and helping them make that switch. So I want to start a podcast around there, and I would love to even have you on it, and we could probably talk more.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. Well, okay. Just want to say thanks again for taking the time and sharing those great stories with us.
Sounds good. Thank you, Seth. I appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. And to you, our viewers, I wish you well on your journey from purchase to profits. See you next time.